All right, it seems like we have a good group, good quorum this morning. So again, my name is Matt Kozlowski. I would really like to welcome you this morning to our webinar. I'm joined by Kayla Barker, Director of Incident Response Strategic Operations at Arctic Wolf. Hey, Kayla, say good morning.
Hey there, Matt. Good morning, everybody. Excited to speak with you today.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. We are going to cover a few things this morning. So first up, I'll give you a brief overview of the Winslow Technology Group itself, some of the services, products, and solutions that we offer. Then Kayla and I will get into a dialogue about incident response, why having an IR retainer is really an important tool in the whole construct of mitigating cyber risk. We'll have a little QA and wrap up. Just a little bit about the Winslow Technology Group. We are headquartered in Waltham, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston, with offices in New York, Charlotte, and Washington, D.C. We specialize in solutions from the desktop to the data center and beyond, including networking, cloud, cybersecurity, which is what we're going to talk about today, and really is part of this series. So this is the second webinar in a series of Cybersecurity Awareness Month webinars. We have one more upcoming next month. And we also offer an entire portfolio of professional services, whether they're project-based, North Star co-managed services, so co-managed services, block hour, staff augmentation, and the whole bit there. Our approach is to identify truly game-changing, unique, and differentiated technologies and service providers, and Arctic Wolf is certainly one of them, one of our longest-standing partnerships, and one of our deepest partnerships, and really delivers exceptional outcomes and very high levels of customer satisfaction for the customers that we have. At WTG, it's our vision and mission to make IT personal. So we have a really passionate team. So we take our passion combined with deep expertise and experience in the field and really focus on customer outcomes. We strive to really honor all stakeholders in the overall cycle here, from our customers to our employees, our partners such as Arctic Wolf, our community, and our investors. So really, when you think of the Winslow Technology Group, especially in the cybersecurity space, I want you to think of strong outcomes and strong cyber resilience and strong risk management. And as is the case with Arctic Wolf, really the leader, as they say, and we say, in cyber operations. At the Winslow Technology Group, we use the NIST cybersecurity framework, of course 2.0, to really build out comprehensive, robust, and really defense in-depth style solutions and overall cybersecurity programs for our customers. So identify, protect, detect, respond, recover, and govern, of course. We have products and services and solutions that cross this entire framework from left to right, as does Arctic Wolf. So Arctic Wolf is of course a major player in our go-to-market with the cybersecurity framework and different services that we offer. And one of those services in terms of response and recovery and actually governance in a sense in terms of overall risk management, is incident response and having an incident response retainer. And Kayla and I will get into that briefly. In terms of different services and security engagements, I did want to highlight we offer a no-cost NIST security evaluation. So it uses the NIST CSF 2.0 at its core. It doesn't cost you anything but about an hour of your time. You get a really nice report that comes out of it. So if you're interested in that after the webinar, feel free to contact your account executive or webinars@winslowtg.com, and we can get you set up with one of the no-cost assessments. We also offer other services, though. We offer a comprehensive NIST CSF 2.0 vulnerability assessment. We have an ongoing co-managed service offering that we branded North Star in terms of helping you ensure that your equipment is patched, maintained well. Say Arctic Wolf Managed Risk identifies a vulnerability, whether it's a patch or configuration item that needs some version of remediation. Our North Star co-managed services team is more than happy to pick up that work and implement the remediation tasks that are outlined. Not only do we offer co-managed services in the kind of traditional aspect, but we have a program called Risk Pilot, which is based on risk, governance, and compliance management. combines a suite of tools, if you will, to help you with compliance. We offer a backup and disaster recovery as a service that is focused on cybersecurity and risk mitigation and risk management, and then an entire portfolio of Microsoft-oriented professional and co-managed services to help folks with everything from Microsoft Defender to Purview to just general hardening and securing of your Microsoft tenant, and really extending that also to Arctic Wolf's MDR offering in terms of helping you set up active response actions for maybe an identity incident on that side. And then we also offer various pen testing, Purple Team, and continuous pen testing type products and services as well. So with that, I will stop talking so much and would love to ask Kayla to introduce herself, introduce Arctic Wolf a little bit, and welcome to the webinar. Thanks, Kayla.
Thanks, Matt. Good morning, everybody. My name is Kayla Barker. I'm a Director of Incident Response here at Arctic Wolf. Just to give you a little bit of information about the Arctic Wolf Incident Response Team in general. We are a global incident response team. We have about 60 plus incident response team members all over the world. Majority of our team members are based in the US, but we have quite a few members in Canada, Germany, the UK, Spain, Japan, and Australia. A little bit about our leadership team. We have Carrie Schaefer-Page as our VP of Incident Response. She comes from a background working 25 years of cyber at IBM, as well as AIG, which is an insurance carrier. We have myself, who works in IR channel development, and just general education. I really love educating people about incident response for teenagers, why incident response is important in the ecosystem. And then we also have our Senior Director of IR, Nicholas Cozy, who manages all of our operations within our incident response team, such as engagement managers, who are essentially project managers assigned to every single incident response case that we work, as well as our threat actor communications team, forensics teams, and restoration and recovery teams. So we really pride ourselves as an incident response team for being that true around the sun model, because any incident response team that you engage with or have a relationship with really needs to have 24/7 availability. That's really important. So whether or not you have an incident at 2 a.m. in the morning or 2 p.m. in the afternoon, you're still getting that same level of communication and availability from the incident response team that you're working with. Next slide. Arctic Wolf's approach to incident response is what I definitely call full service, one-stop shop incident response. So specifically here at Arctic Wolf, our team provides comprehensive incident response that includes containment and eradication. So making sure that threat actor, whatever that threat is, has been kicked out of your network or your email environment and no longer has access to get back in. But also data preservation. So making sure you have backups of everything you need backup of before restoration occurs, but also that data preservation piece for the digital forensic analysis that is done. Typically, that digital forensic analysis is a super important part of incident response in that it's going to tell you root point of compromise. In other words, how did that threat actor even gain access to the network and or email environment in the first place? But also it creates a timeline of events. When did this threat actor first gain access? When were they kicked out of the network? Did they deploy any tools within the network or anything malicious while they were in there? If it's a ransomware event and there's encryption involved, we try to figure out, okay, when did this encryption event even start? And then also, data exfiltration, or in other words, stealing data. We try to determine if any data was accessed and or exfiltrated by the threat actor, because then that helps any legal teams that you have involved in helping you with communications and identifying any notification obligations that you have. So we have a lot of deep knowledge here on our team about digital forensics, A lot of our forensic analysts have an FBI, an ex-law enforcement background, that they bring that knowledge to every IR case that they work. But I think there's two additional items that our team does that I think kind of set us apart from some other incident response firms out there, is that we have in-house restoration and recovery. So a team that helps our clients evaluate backups to see if they're viable for restore, if that's something that's needed, helping you determine a clean restore point. If you need help rebuilding domain controllers, things of that nature. You know, we have all of that in-house, which is really important to have a one-stop shop incident response engagement. And then we also provide threat actor communications. So if you have a ransomware incident and you need to have communications with a threat actor, we have a very experienced team who all they do day in and day out is talk with threat actors. So you don't have to do that communication and or monetary negotiation on your own. You can have an experienced team helping you out with that piece. And we are insurance and legal approved. I would say probably around 95% of all incident response cases that we work are involved with cyber insurance and or data privacy counsel as well. So Arctic Wolf's approach to incident response is definitely doing all of these things in parallel and really helping you get back to operations as soon as possible, no matter what kind of cyber.
Yeah, no, Kayla, are you is Arctic Wolf actually bringing in all of these services as part of the offering? Like, do you bring in kind of like insurance and legal folks and like maybe threat actors, for example? Are you actually bringing in threat actors to negotiate on your behalf, or I guess what's the depth of kind of coverage in terms of, oh, maybe not coverage, but the response actions that Arctic Wolf is bringing in?
Yeah, definitely. So all of the services that I just mentioned, all of the folks that would be performing these services are Arctic Wolf team members. So we're not really bringing in any third parties to do any of these actions. And as far as cyber insurance goes, typically it's actually cyber insurance that is reaching out to us as an approved IR vendor panel on their panel to be able to perform these services. However, we do have a lot of clients who aren't necessarily sure if they have cyber insurance right away, and we help the client figure out their cyber insurance on the back end. If they have cyber insurance, we can reach out to their insurance for them, just to take a little bit of that burden off of them. But we can provide them a lot of guidance when it comes to when to contact cyber insurance if they haven't already, what the talk track looks like, as well as when to bring in data privacy counsel as well.
Okay, awesome. That's good to know. What a benefit.
Sure. Next slide.
Right. Sure.
So a lot of clients that we get, sometimes they're not even sure if they really had an incident, but there are some that are more obvious than others as well. So if you come in one day and you're noticing that all your files are locked and probably had an encryption event due to ransomware, that's something that our team specializes in and helps out with. We also see a lot of business email compromise events. If you have a significant data breach, we can assist with analysis of figuring out, what that data set is. If you have an active threat actor in the environment, so it's very obvious that you've had a network intrusion of some sort, maybe it hasn't quite led up to ransomware, but there's definitely something nefarious going on, that's when you would want to bring in an incident response team to help you make sure that that threat actor is kicked out of that network, so it doesn't become a ransomware event. That includes if you have a domain controller compromise, or if you think that there's some nefarious actions going on your file server. Even if it's something you're not really sure if you're having an incident, it's still better to call an incident response vendor and have them check things out rather than not, because it could lead to something much larger, like a ransomware event. So we also do malware analysis. So if you think that you have malware on your computer or server, but you're not 100% sure how to eradicate it, that's something that we can help out with as well. Not only in the eradication piece, but also with root cause analysis. So pretty much any nefarious actions or unauthorized threat actor in your network, whether it's big or small, we can help you out from a full service perspective.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Sorry to interrupt there. I guess like twofold with this. I feel like it's interesting that an MDR organization like Arctic Wolf's original kind of core product was an MDR offering, is offering incident response. So I guess, and you may get to this, but it's interesting, and I think just really awesome actually that looking at this much more holistically from an avenue of cyber risk reduction. Overall, it's like you have a toolbox of cyber risk tools, and like MDR is a tool, and awareness training is a tool, and vulnerability management is a tool. I think like incident response is like a tool in that toolbox. Would you generally agree with that? I guess like is that how you all see this?
Yeah, 100%. You know, incident response is a part of risk mitigation. Just like having an incident response plan is really important as well. So if you actually go to the next slide, I'll dive into that a little bit further.
Okay.
So, you know, an IR retainer is a tool for cyber risk mitigation for several reasons. But probably the number one reason is that you have a pre-established relationship with an IR firm in case of an incident. So you're in the middle of an incident, you're not really worried about, okay, which IR firm do we have a relationship with that we know is going to do a good job, is available 24/7 to help us out. You know, if you already have a pre-established IR retainer, you have a clear escalation path for that IR assistance with a team that you're already familiar with and that you're going to have 24/7 immediate access to. But through an IR retainer, you can also have access to a lot of proactive touch points with an experienced IR team member to help you prepare as part of that cyber risk mitigation as well. So things like tabletop exercises, IR planner reviews, cyber resilience assessment, to see, you know, how your network infrastructure would go up, kind of goes hand in hand with, you know, cyber risk. And also, you know, just access to a team of experts who handle cyber incidents on a day-to-day basis. So you're not trying to have your internal IT team handle this on their own. You really do need experts during a cyber incident that you can really trust and know, hey, they do this day in and day out. So they're really going to be specialized in not only doing the forensics piece of this, but the restoration and recovery piece as well. And that IR team is probably going to have a lot of advanced containment and forensics tooling that you probably won't already have available to you. And we'll be able to provide you with a lot of threat intelligence throughout an incident as well, which typically our clients don't have otherwise. So, you know, an IR retainer can be really great for all of these points. But I think the number one thing to highlight here is the pre-established relationship with that IR firm. So you're not struggling to figure out what that looks like during an incident.
Like basically like, here are the people to call. Like it's not like incident happens and then you're like, who do we call on the phone? I don't know. Like, let's Google that. Like not a good time to be Googling for a provider there. Does an organization need to be an existing Arctic Wolf customer to consume this? Or do you know, can someone call like Winslow and say, hey, look, like we have an incident and then we can patch that customer, you know, whether or not they're, you know, an existing Arctic Wolf customer or not through to you all?
Yeah, so both for the IR retainer and just our IR services in general, you do not need to be an Arctic Wolf customer in order to take part in purchasing an IR retainer or getting IR services from our team. So yeah, like if you have anyone who wants to reach out to Winslow to have an initial conversation with your team, and then it eventually needs to be passed over to our incident response team, yeah, we can definitely help you out.
Awesome.
So I do want to dive into a little bit about how Arctic Wolf does our IR retainers. Next slide. So we have three primary retainer options here at Arctic Wolf. And I'll kind of describe a little bit about the differences between the three, but then I'll really hone in on the Incident 360 Retainer Plus, because I think they all provide a lot of value, but that Retainer Plus one provides a lot of the extras that our clients seem to really love. But our first retainer option is just called the Jumpstart Retainer. And it's basically a guarantee of a 4-hour SLA response time if you have an incident. So really kind of guaranteeing that you're going to get that response pretty quickly if you have an incident. And it also guarantees a hourly rate of $325, which is a specialized retainer hourly rate that you get subscribed to. But probably what is the best about the Jumpstart retainer, and then all of our retainers after that, is our IR planner. So it's basically a web-based planner that your team is going to have access to plug in all of the important information that you need to know from a context perspective, from a vendor perspective, and just about your network in general. So it's all there in case you have an incident, you know where to go from a centralized location standpoint. It's going to have all the information you need to know about who at your cyber insurance company you need to contact if you have cyber insurance, who from Arctic Wolf you need to contact if Arctic Wolf is your primary IR vendor if you have an incident. But it also is a file uploader. So if you have an incident response plan that you want to upload to the IR planner for safekeeping, so it's not out there, sitting on a file server that a threat actor can have access to or lock up. You can store all of that in the IR planner itself, which our clients really, really love. And there's also incident-specific runbooks, ransomware runbooks, business email compromise runbooks that you can then use to customize into your own incident response plan based on what's in those runbooks.
That's just like so valuable, because I feel like, a lot of people are like, oh, I'll just go to, I won't mention a specific name, but like Gen AI tool of my choice and say, hey, write me an IR plan. And like, they don't generate great IR plans unless you give it a ton of context and upload a ton of information that you may not want to feed to just like an unknown AI engine on the other end. So I would triple underscore the value in this, especially in the world of Gen AI, where it can be really tempting to just be like, oh, I'm going to generate my incident response plan from, an AI engine. And certainly it can help supplement it and write policies and different, things of that nature. That's fine. But I think to your point, when it comes to planning for an incident for a unique organization, assuming every organization is unique, and having like all that vendor contact info, other, policies and procedures at the ready, if you will, by your IR provider. So it's kind of like similar to like our North Star, a bit like a co-managed experience in a way. That's just like infinitely more valuable than just like, hey, I could just create an IR plan, from Gen AI tool of my choice, right? Are you all seeing that?
Yeah, for sure. And something that's really cool about the IR planner, along with those incident specific runbooks, is that if you do have an incident, the Arctic Wolf incident response team can pop into that IR planner and already knows all of the information that we need to know from a network perspective, from a context perspective. So we're not wasting time right after you've had an incident on doing a lot of background questions about your network infrastructure, about the key players on your IT team, on that initial scoping call after you have an incident. It's going to make things go a lot faster, which is obviously important in a time when you're having an incident. Things need to get started very quickly. So the more information that team has in that IR planner, the faster our incident response team can get started on forensics and remediation of the incident to get back up and running. And then also, we have our Incident 360 retainer, which is a little bit different than a traditional hourly burn down retainer that most others have out there, because we decided to structure ours as one fully covered incident with up to 30 hours of restoration and recovery included within that covered incident. So by a covered incident, we mean everything from the containment and eradication, to the data preservation, to the forensic analysis, to the threat actor communications, if that's something that you need, if it's a ransomware incident, and then that 30 hours of restoration and recovery as well. So we really wanted to take any guesswork out of our retainer in terms of, oh, should I use my hours for this covered incident, or should I save them for something else? We really wanted a retainer that can take stress away from our client by having the one covered incident. But specific to the Incident 360 Retainer Plus, this is our highest value retainer that we offer, because you're getting that one fully covered incident, but you're also getting readiness touch points as well. So those readiness touch points that are included in the 360 Plus are a tabletop exercise that is fully customizable to you in terms of what type of scenario you'd like, if you want it more technical or executive. But that retainer also includes a 1 hour call with our incident response team to do an IR planner review with you all. So going over what is put into that IR planner that you get access to, and also any IR plans that you upload to that planner, you'll actually have an experienced IR team member go through your incident response plan with you and give you recommendations based on what we're seeing. And then an additional touch point you get is a cyber resilience assessment review. So you do the cyber resilience assessment via step-by-step process, and then you get that 1 hour call with an incident response team member to go through the results of that assessment and provide you with recommendations based on what we're seeing in that assessment. So you're getting a lot of value with the 360 Plus retainer, because you're not only getting that one covered incident, but you're also getting these 3 proactive readiness touch points to help you in preparation of an incident. Because this day and age, unfortunately, it's one of those situations that we see here on the IR team that it's not necessarily if you have an incident, but more so when. But when you have those readiness touch points, you can really do everything that you possibly can to avoid an incident from happening, but still be ready just in case it does happen.
Yeah, it's like you can't eliminate, like in the broader scheme of like risk and risk management, you're not like eliminating the risk, you're just maybe reducing the impact of it, and thus reducing like the quantifiable risk in many ways too. So it still like lines up with the whole an IR retainer itself is a tool in the toolbox, if you will. And all the incident prep, as you mentioned here, the tabletop, the IR planning, that all goes into that to help identify perhaps like areas of risk, and always refining how you would respond to an incident, if and when certainly someone would need to respond as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to dive in a little bit further on why Arctic Wolf took the stance that we did with the fully covered incident versus traditional hourly burn down retainers, it's really centered around that speed and quality, as I mentioned before, less stress on the client, but it's definitely in connection with cost certainty as well. So by the fully covered incident, you're not having that hourly panic. Oh, do we have enough hours to cover this incident, especially if it's a full-blown ransomware incident or a pre-ransomware incident where you have a lot of suspicious network activity, and we're doing a lot of things to make sure that it doesn't lead to ransomware. Those situations can get very large and complicated, and it can blow through hours very quickly. But with the one covered incident structure that we have, we can kind of throw as many of our IR specialists and hours at the case as needed without worrying about the number of hours that need to be used. And our investigation can be really, really comprehensive because you're not having to worry, okay, let's only analyze systems over here because that's only what fits within the hourly budget that you have with an hourly burn down retainer. We really wanted to take the stress out of it. So not only are you getting all that one covered incident, but you're also not having to worry about, okay, do I save my hours because I don't know if I'm going to have an incident, or should I go ahead and use them on proactive? But what if I use them on proactive services and then I have an incident? What do I do then? So we're providing that one covered incident and then automatically providing you with those extras as well for the proactive side, the tabletop, the CRA review, and the IR planner review. So you're really getting the best of both worlds with the 360 plus retainer option on top of, having that security, knowing, okay, I have an established IR team that I know is going to help me out and is available 24/7 if I need them.
Awesome. All right. This was a ton of great information. We have a couple questions, and I always love to make sure we reserve some time for that. So Kayla, let's if anyone has any questions, just throw them in the chat. If we don't have time to cover it, we are just about coming up on time. We'll obviously follow up with folks afterwards, but I'll start at the top of the list here. So this is a good one, actually. What happens if we already have cyber insurance? So say that, I guess, someone already has cyber insurance. Oftentimes cyber insurance covers some of the services that you described here. So Kayla, how does it work if someone already has cyber insurance? Like what's Arctic Wolf's position on the kind of the IR package and cyber insurance, just maybe generally speaking?
Yeah, so generally speaking, Arctic Wolf Incident Response Team is on over 50 plus cyber insurance panels as an approved IR vendor. So we definitely have a very large name in the cyber insurance space. So more than likely, we are already going to be an approved vendor, and we really know the ins and outs of working alongside the cyber insurance carrier that you have. And then also Data Privacy Council as well. We work with a majority of Data Privacy Council firms out there that are also approved vendors on these cyber insurance panels. So in terms of the IR retainer, we get a lot of questions around, well, I have a cyber insurance policy, but we're interested in having an IR retainer as well. It's really important to have both, honestly, because your cyber insurance policy can offset financial loss in terms of business interruption. It can help for those data privacy law firm costs, but the IR retainer can help you with that immediate, trusted technical response piece of it that may not be the fastest response time on the cyber insurance side. So it's kind of great to have both because you're supplementing where your money is going if you do have an IR incident. Matt, I actually have a question for you.
Sure.
What services does Winslow offer, from a restoration recovery standpoint? Because, Arctic Wolf does offer up to that 30 hours of restoration recovery within the retainer, but what if somebody needs beyond that 30 hours? Is there supplementing recovery services that Winslow can offer?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So we used to get involved in a bunch of like primary incident response, and then came to the conclusion that folks like yourselves are just like better. You have more capabilities. You're paneled, for example, and there's a lot going on there. It's almost a whole webinar in and of itself. So what we offer now is what we're really good at: supplemental, IR services or supplemental recovery services. So what we're able to do is kind of above and beyond that scope, especially of the 30 hours. If someone's say their Hyper-V or VMware like Nutanix environment is compromised for some reason and encrypted, we're actually able to help and work with, say, like your threat actor negotiation team has the decryption key, something like that. We'll actually dive in and help. If it's determined that they have some sort of storage array with snapshots on it and we can recover from snapshots, we'll actually facilitate maybe like the rebuild of a hypervisor, and then helping your team and the customer, set up snapshot access and revert back instantly nearly to snapshots in the past. We have unique expertise in Microsoft and that whole area. So what we offer is a really simple kind of time and material agreement that is a wrapper around this for folks to consume. Ours is hourly, unlike yours, just because it's very open-ended work. And it's supplemental in nature, but we're here to help. We're here to help you, help our customers with incidents as well. So good question. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Unfortunately, we are up on time. This was awesome, Kayla. I really appreciate you joining us this morning. Any final or closing thoughts before we break for the morning?
Yeah, just if you have any additional questions about the Arctic Wolf team or IR services or even the retainer itself, feel free to reach out to me via email. My email address is right there on the screen, but really enjoyed the conversation today, Matt.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Hope this was equally informative in this series. We have another episode in this series coming up as well next month. So thank you, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.